Mic check 1 2 1 2. Now they can hear us, but we can go back to all right.
Now, wow. Can you guys hear us?
Can you guys hear us now? I think they should be able to hear us now. It's like the setups of everything.
Now they can?
They can hear us, right?
Okay.
We're good. So,
like I was saying,
let's regroup.
Make sure that door is closed.
Yeah, so we got to seriously regroup because a lot has happened. New digs.
Yeah.
You like?
Yeah, I can see the water.
You know, we can literally see the water over there. We got an announcement to make at the end.
Okay.
A very special announcement.
Nice. Let me do a pre-sip.
Okay. What's up, everybody? I'm Mark Bernero, and I am accompanied by my wonderful co-host, co-producer, and co-creator of All Things Galactic. Give it up for none other than the wonderful. Come on.
It's Jolyn in the place to be. What does the cousins on this fine Tuesday with, I don't really mind the lighting.
And he said, let there be light. It's actually not bad in the low light, but you know.
Next time. We'll
figure it out. We'll figure it out.
I don't know why we're having all these technical difficulties.
The office is censored, so.
Oh, if we don't make enough movement?
If we didn't make enough movement, they're like, hey, are y'all here?
We're here.
We're here. We're live and in color, just for each and every single one of you, the people. So it's June.
You guys saw what is going on in the background right now.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
There's a lot. Okay, sorry.
Okay, so we got a lot new things that are happening. New studio and everything else. New episodes coming out as well. New House bill that has been signed and non-read. We'll get to that. Let's see here. We have a new leader in the market as it pertains to market cap.
Yes, NVIDIA.
So, I mean, you just let the cat out of the bag.
I mean, they know. They know.
I mean, yeah.
Well, if you don't know, now you know.
All right.
Back at it.
Okay. All right. So, and then on top of that, look. Well, I can't do the jazzy hands because if I do, then essentially the AI camera kicks in.
Yeah.
But we'll also have some of the cool comments that are being posted up without yours truly controlling like what like is posted. So this is going to be fun. So let's take a deep breath.
Yeah. Let's take a deep breath because honestly, okay, so let the record reflect that I just got back into town. So
from an undisclosed location.
No, I was in Turkey, living it up.
Oh,
I mean, I'm not there now. I usually don't disclose locations while I'm in the place. But
gotcha.
I'm.
Did you have fun?
Oh my gosh, yes.
I saw the yellow dress.
Yes. Not sponsored, but shout out to Hanifa. Okay. Anyway.
Wait, say it a little louder for the folks.
I said shout out to Hanifa, who just had a drop that's selling out.
Okay.
But anyway, Black designer. So yes, Turkey was everything. I just want to say right now, though, that the main reason for the trip, Mark, as you know, was to take control and take charge of my health.
Yep.
And so I did a women's VIP checkup. With Seder Health, and it was top tier.
Top
tier. You'll be happy to know that I'm super healthy. And also, which is a huge relief because, as you know, cancer runs in my family.
Yep.
And I made a pact to myself a long time ago that my demise from planet Earth would not be due to cancer.
That's what's up.
And so anyway, it was just really great to take that time. And granted, I also kicked it too, but that was like my primary focus. Oh yeah, I kicked it.
She kicked it.
I mean, what else do you do? But I do want to make note, Mark. There is a global shortage of matcha, especially in Turkey.
Interesting.
I was looking for matcha in the daytime with a flashlight. Okay. Because, I've been off coffee for now a whole month. And I've replaced it with matcha. So anyway, going to another country, I encourage you all to get out there and travel. You can just see all the things that you're learning in the market. You just see it when you travel. Like you can see the impact of different sectors, all of that.
Yeah.
All of that. So
Well, I'm glad that you actually got your time.
Yeah,
out
cheers
in the
to
sun.
me.
Yes, cheers. I mean,
I
she's
took
already
a
taking a sip for it. A
premature
free sip. Okay.
So I came back to this market,
which has been popping
in June. Yeah, I was
I mean, we
okay,
lit, right?
welcome back to me. But you know what? It's cool that that's the case for the summer, because usually, things die down in the summer, and to see them pick back up.
I mean, it's almost mark time, so.
Yeah. Oh, we need to make sure we circle back to what you said. Okay, so we'll get to that.
We're going to get to that.
Yeah. Because Mark had some pretty bold statements and claims and arguments and footnotes and headnotes and all that. So
I'm just saying.
So let's get to it. So
I don't want to toot my own horn, but
beep.
Beep. All right. So where do we start first? Because there's a lot that's on our agenda. Like, we got notes and notes and notes and notes.
Yeah. When I came back, I had to get reacquainted with what was going on, because I was not paying attention to the market while I was gone. I was like literally living life. So when I came back, I was happy to see, especially for today, that all three of the major indices are up.
Yeah.
All three of them. And the NASDAQ is almost to 20.
I'm just saying, what
is going on?
Coming through like coffee or matcha. Let's get it. Look, they got their energy, V-shaped rally recovery. I think the market has done shrugged off all the shenanigans of what's happening over in DC for the most part.
They're over it.
I think the market's over it.
They've already priced it in. They're like, okay, been there, done that.
If we're here, we're here. We understand.
And today is Taco Tuesday.
Shout out
if you know, then you know what that reference is.
But yeah, man, it took it away. They're taking away my, because Erica's tacos are legendary, but now we got the other taco that's in DC.
Yeah,
I just don't eat tacos in DC.
Okay, that's a compromise. That works.
There it is. All right, so no shade to the DMV cousins out there. I'm probably sure that you guys have other tacos, but until you get rid of the malted taco in DC, then I just got to try something else on the menu. All right, so should we talk about first Apple's identity crisis, or should we start a little bit more spicier, because we're coming in hot for June, so.
I feel like.
Or do we want to start off with a little bit something more
medium
hotter?
Salsa? Let's start with medium salsa and then increase the flavor intensity.
Oh man, okay. So all right.
We could talk about Apple's identity crisis. Let's talk about it.
I was gonna say, because I think that's the least spiciest thing on the menu. Okay.
Let's start there.
So if you didn't know, Apple is now trading, as Jolyn had let the cat out of the bag. It has actually, I think it's now in third place behind NVIDIA, or I think Microsoft is in the lead, then NVIDIA, then Apple.
No, I thought it was NVIDIA, Microsoft, then Apple.
Well, in the beginning, in the morning it was.
Oh, in the morning,
but,
but okay.
And when the night falls.
No, but
real talk. Oh, I could hit the note, but not today. But yeah, long story short, so I think investors are taking a pause on Apple until they really. Next week is going to be really show out and show up time for Apple.
Yeah, I'm getting all the emails right now.
Yeah, so the WWDC event is definitely taking place next week, and Apple really needs to come out of the gate swinging. The fact that you have OpenAI, and so OpenAI got into bed with John Ives' company and acquired it, and then on top of that, you also that produces some issues, because with OpenAI getting into the devices, that can pose a challenge, but that's a little bit later down the road, so we don't have to worry about that exactly right now. Then on top of that, you have this whole AI run, which is being led by NVIDIA.
Yes.
And then, of course, you have cloud and AI, which is ran by Microsoft. And since OpenAI is doing what it does, and since Microsoft owns 49% of OpenAI, so there's that. So
then the question is, if Apple is, staring into a mirror right now, what are they asking themselves?
Mirror, mirror on the wall?
Yeah.
We already know who's not the fairest. We already know who's not the fairest of them all right now. okay, so long story short, here's what Apple's going to have to do in order to make such a recovery. So Apple is going to have to really like double down on its Vision OS platform, as well as things outside of the iPhone.
Facts.
So like watches, audio, those things is like, okay, hey, there's nothing else there. Services revenue, we get that. But the market is getting bored. And so the market needs something in which that, okay, what else you got?
Yeah, I mean,
and I think Vision is like Vision and auto and home.
Well, also I want to see them invest more in their Apple TV series.
The content?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean
that's not going to make a lot of money.
Severance was an amazing show. It's an amazing show.
It really was.
But they need more hits like that.
Yeah.
Like Netflix ran on Stranger Things, but it also had a few other things up its sleeve. No pun intended. And then of course, like, you know, they've let go of a lot of assets that they could have bid for, especially when it came to like sports, which
now that was a missed opportunity.
So yeah, so they've got some soul searching and some identity to like really brush up and figure out like how are they going to recover. I think that they will recover though. I think that they will.
I mean, they're Apple. They will recover.
I mean, yeah, like they're not racing to be first. So it's kind of like when we first saw Samsung like literally coming into the space and like really disrupting. And I remember during that time the Apple stock was really being hammered. But I mean, Apple went on a whole like offensive, and well, we know how that story played out.
Yeah, so. they're still a great company, and Apple's the kind of company that will kind of sit back in the cut, observe, and then come out swinging. They just
can't ride on the fact of being the utility company anymore if they want to still remain in the creme de la creme of, you know, stocks. I mean, don't get me wrong, still 100 billion per quarter, you know, still, you know, verified and, you know, adjusted for, you know, its market cap. It's not a growth stock by any means, shape, form, or fashion, because it definitely returns the capital, definitely returns the dividend and everything else. And on top of that, buying back stock. So I don't think that they're in a tough spot, but it's like if they're going to like wave over the next 10 years
they're
and still have their name involved in that conversation, yo, Tim Cook, time to make some decisions. You got to come out swinging for the WWDC. Like everybody's going to be watching, and if it's not a home run, like if we don't hear one more thing or like we're not,
I'm gonna need 2 more things.
Oh wow, okay.
Real talk.
Just one more.
I need 2 more.
Well, we already know that they're gonna capture market as it pertains to auto. So they're gonna literally build the infotainment system through auto, like through vehicles.
Yep.
So we know that that's coming. Home is definitely going to be another arena in which that they're going to just overtake to compete against Google. But Vision, like, and the thing is, like, we already know that they're going to compete against Meta as it pertains to the Vision goggles, but at the same token, they need to get into the smaller form factor to compete truly against Meta, which is against those Ray-Ban glasses. Yeah. So that's going to be the question. Even if you just unveil it and then just tell us 2026, because ain't nobody really coming out with anything in 2025. 2025 is like the year in which that's like, does anybody remember anybody who graduated in 05? No. Exactly. So it's going to be like that. So it's going to be that type of vibe. So yeah.
Okay.
All right. So what's next? What do we got here?
We have a lot.
We do. So.
Oh, we were talking about NVIDIA.
We were. Should we continue on that tirade?
Yeah. Let's talk about NVIDIA.
Okay. So NVIDIA is no longer just a chip stock anymore.
Yeah. You were saying that earlier.
Yeah. Is there something that you would like to?
No, I'm just okay. So, as someone who, you know, is a firm supporter of SMH, my stock bay, it is great to see the types of moves that NVIDIA makes to assert its dominance. And it is definitely a company, you know, that is a force to be reckoned with. I remember, what year was that? Was that 2021? It was either 2020 or 2021 when I was new to even knowing about NVIDIA and seeing where they were before. They're always a good company, but then seeing where they are now, like fighting back to, you know, recapture the market. And then also, even when we think about in the context of, we were talking about this Oh, sorry, with Cam earlier. I forgot I'm not supposed to.
Well, it's okay. We're focusing on you right now.
Well, okay, anyway. So I remember when earlier today when we were talking about how NVIDIA was having their response basically to what was happening with Trump's tariffs and coming up with the B20 chip, right?
Yep.
Which is their chip that's specifically for China. And being able to pivot like that. Now, granted, that chip is not as souped up as like any American market chips, but they did have another chip that would have worked, but then, and that chip was fine with the first set of tariffs and then and restrictions, and then more restrictions came, and so then that chip was no longer viable, and so then they just came out with this like stripped down B20 chip that's specifically for China, and being able to pivot like that, like on a dime, and not wait for what was that, like so much red tape.
That was like a 3-month like in the making process.
That's like a quarter, so that's an earnings report. Yeah. So when you're able to turn things around that fast, that goes back to what we were talking about earlier with that dominance. So I'm not surprised that NVIDIA is here where it is today. You could see the breadcrumbs from 2020, even probably before that, but I'm saying as far as my consciousness goes.
Like really like 2017, 2018 when they missed the crypto run, and then they started focusing towards AI at that time. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, can we just have a moment for NVIDIA? Like, let's just have a moment.
Cheers.
Seriously. But when it comes to NVIDIA not just being a chip company anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's the AI economy. Like, we're going beyond that because of the fact is what makes like NVIDIA have the moat of dominance, which is honestly like, I mean, real talk, they're gatekeeping the AI race, which is ultimately probably keeping AMD at bay and any other players from like really like stepping into the space to compete, which is funny because Jensen Huang is like, I'll definitely invite any competition. Do you?
No, the gates are shut.
The gates are shut, like literally, because like there's no way that AMD can step into the space. Now, don't get me wrong; they'll have somewhere in there,
some like foothold,
but like NVIDIA has a lockjaw on the entire AI economy because why? One, everybody thought that DeepSeek was going to be something that was disruptive.
That was like some hype that fizzled out
after 30 days.
Okay.
It was like a net 30. And then we also have to think about like, okay, so people are asking probably, well, what makes NVIDIA's AI dominance so clear? Okay. So it's not just the hardware, but it's also the entire software ecosystem that they've also attached around the chips that have ultimately made it like unstoppable. So to think about it, like you build the chips, but then on top of that, you build the software that can support the chips that allows creators, startups, enterprise, and everybody else to be able to do the types of things that they do, like with Omniverse and all these other tools within the data center. I mean,
it's a moat strategy. You build the center, the main product.
Well, the moat was already the chips, and they built the secondary
but
moat.
You keep building another moat, like, and it gets wider and wider and wider, and then after that, no one can even reach the gate.
Forget the gate. Like, the gate, like we're not even talking about the gate anymore. The gate is like literally like the gate is like in a whole different country.
Okay,
like the gate is gone. Like you're just trying to make it across the border.
Looking for the gate in the daytime with the flashlight.
Like
ain't gonna find it.
It's not gonna happen. Like I think if the best way to put it, NVIDIA's AI dominance is like literally what they built is like an escape room.
Wow.
For all of its competitors. And the crazy part is, and you know what the crazy part is? They forgot the last key.
What?
So they took the key out the escape room. So which means that you can't leave.
So you're just stuck.
You're just stuck until your time runs out.
Just stuck. Well.
Okay, so we got butter rolling around the office. Okay. So let's talk about our other friend. Oh, so I have to ask
whose friend?
Your friend.
No, that's your friend. That's your bestie. No, that ain't me.
Girl.
No, that ain't me.
Not my friend.
That is not my friend.
Okay, let me ask you this question. AI or EV?
Okay. So, we had this conversation earlier.
We
I'm
did.
sticking with AI. Like, yes, EV, I told you I saw
Mhm.
a lot of EV in Turkey, but I'm just not willing to go that route yet. Not yet. Although we are reaching a point where there's been like a lot of startups, different acquisitions as it relates to AI. And when I think about EV, there are some players, but I feel like there's more players in the AI space. So I'm going to stick with AI unless I'm just proven wrong.
Is that like a conflicted sticking with it, or?
No. I'm sticking with AI. I'm just saying I do see some things for EV.
Okay.
Especially, come on now. This planet is getting hotter and hotter and hotter. So we're going to need to switch, at some point. But.
So, can we talk about it?
Yes! We can talk about it.
So, all right. So, Tesla. So, the slowdown. But at the same, so if you notice, every time that we hear about Tesla, we hear about slowdown and growth. But yet the stock is like, running the opposite way. Like, now, of course, we heard the good news. Like, I guess that apparently came out of Australia, where it's like, oh, well, we all want Model Ys. Congratulations. I don't know if that's going to
like. That's not enough.
That's not enough. When you think about the math. And then at the same token, we heard about like Italy down 29% as it pertains to deliveries.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then here's the crazy part. So here's the problem with that I find with Tesla. And I know that Dan Ives like raised his price target to 500.
Okay.
Which is fair. I understand it. I understand the bullish thesis behind it. But let me just add a little bit of seasoning to it. Okay. So one, outside of the robotaxi testing in Austin, Texas, we have no good news as it pertains to Tesla. So, which means the next set of good news that we could potentially get is 2026. So there's that part.
Okay.
And then on top of that, like, does Tesla dominate as it pertains to the battery space now?
No.
That is correct. So they don't dominate in battery. There's so many vehicles that are coming out that are literally competitive. Now, of course, the one area where they do dominate still is the ecosystem. And don't get me wrong, I'm still a Tesla owner of stock and also vehicle. But I did decrease my position.
Okay.
I did.
That's fair.
But yeah, I think that honestly, the time that he took away from Tesla and running it.
I mean, he's playing catch up right now.
Yeah. And
you can't, if you're going to pit AI and EV against each other, and one of the leading companies that has, substantial market share, their CEO is off, meddling and, things that they really don't have any business meddling in. And then now they're trying to come back. Like, he needed to be there 100% of the time. Like, I don't care if he was sleeping on the floor. He needed to be there 100% of the time. Because now what's happening? They're playing catch up. The EV sector is playing catch up, and it's just going to continue to be this thing with catch up. Now, I understand, like, if he thought being closer to your president would make it easier for advocacy and lobbying. But that hasn't really been like the case.
Yeah, somebody was bumping Alicia Keys.
Okay, I was just like, wait, what? That hasn't really been the case. So now we're gonna have to wait, and I guess we can wait till 2026. I guess, but I'm not.
The market's giving him a pass till 2026.
Well, we'll just have to see. But in the meantime, it's AI. In the meantime,
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of great things that are potential that come out of Tesla. Don't get me wrong. They're like there's a lot, like, robotics and everything else.
Well, you can get it on sale for right now.
There you go.
Yeah, get it on sale for right now.
Well, I mean, it's running back up to its like close to its high, because I think its 52-week high is like 480 or something like that, or 460. And like based upon, I think that we're gonna probably see the stock eclipse 400 soon.
And you got Dan Ives saying 500.
500.
Right?
So essentially, that gives you like you'll at least get to like 425.
There's gonna be a pullback before we get. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's gonna be a substantial pullback. It might run back, but if you get it when it's coming down, I would say below like the 450 range.
Well, yeah, you're getting it now. Like if you're saying that 500 is the target, then essentially you're buying it now and saying, okay, hey, I'll enjoy the ride.
Yeah,
yeah, you're buying and holding at this point. Holdor.
Oh, I just love. Okay, anyway, we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later.
Okay, so now we're getting spicy.
All right, let me take a sip.
Okay, you need another one just in case?
No, I think I'm good.
I mean,
how spicy?
Oh, we're about to get real spicy.
Okay, let me take one more sip.
Like we're about to get mango habanero spicy.
Alrighty, Taco Tuesday. Here we go.
Okay, so Congress passed a bill they didn't read. I told you it was spicy.
So this is where the anti-intellectualism of America really starts to piss me off, because we cannot have representatives in our government that do not read. We just can't do. We cannot. This is absolutely asinine.
It's starting to look like a reflection of what they're talking about, the educational system. The U.S. politics is starting to look like a reflection of our education system. I think that's the best way that I can put it.
And I think that's the nicest way you can put it. I mean, we have representatives that, I mean, for lack of a better phrase, are dumb as hell. Dumb. And it's to the point now where we have to be the ones who engage in at every sector, the local levels, like everything, because we need to be informed. And the problem is that if we're having this anti-intellectualism taking place right now, and education is being, the access to education, to quality education, is literally slipping from our grasp, we're already going to fall behind on the global scale.
Yep.
And now we're just talking about on the home front.
Yep.
Like I get what they're trying to do, like to concentrate power. I get that part. But when we were talking about
$95 billion of
it, just okay, let me take a sip. Hold on.
I mean,
no, for real, because this is you're gonna have me cussing on a Tuesday. Like, no. I refuse. I'm not gonna get out of character for the shenanigans, Mark. But how are you gonna pass something and not read it? That is like Senator Representative 101. Read. That is 98% of your job is to read. Where's the table so I can flip it?
Y'all killing me with this. Okay, so many of you are like, okay, like, all right, that's the political side to it. So let's look at it from a market standpoint, right? So let's look at it from a standpoint of like what that adds as it pertains to U.S. debt. So that's a $4 trillion addition over a course period of time that would add. Then on top of that, like when we think about like, you know, the impact of it, you know, we're thinking about defense, cybersecurity, AI companies, they could benefit. But at the same token, you know, there's going to be a lot of things in which that you damage a lot of infrastructure in the process. And here's the crazy part. Like, you know, we're not really reinvesting into like the country the way that we should right now. And you're starting to see it like
for other people.
It was kind of crazy, but someone had asked me, you know, Mark, I'm in college right now. Should I stay?
Wow.
Like, well, one, I'm not a guidance counselor, so I, you know,
disclaimers,
yeah, I can't really guide you. But you know, there's a lot of fear out there when it comes to job security, potential future as it pertains to being able to earn a decent living here in the country. I mean, for all the things in which that we celebrate, for sure, as it pertains to like the AI revolution and everything else. Like a colleague of mine posted that AI today is like what the revolution of what we saw as it pertains to email and the internet. You know, or like the internet moment where everybody was like, "What is this thing?" And then like a few years later, everybody was on it.
That college question is real, though.
It's very real. Because it really speaks towards like, okay, hey, like where is the real opportunity? You know, where's the opportunity for growth? Where's the opportunity to really like what's going to be like your anchor as it pertains to like that passageway of you building wealth? You know, if we think about it, assets in the market have just become ridiculous where it's like, you know, like remember once upon a time there was always a barrier, there was always a non-barrier to entry into the market. Now we have equities that are so high, especially the good ones that people want to invest in, that their opportunities are not there. And the only way that they create opportunity is by doing 10 for 1, 7 for 1 stock splits. Which therein, it's like for them, it's like, okay, hey, we'll get access, but in reality, it just gives an opportunity for increased market cap because your market cap doesn't change when you split the stock. You just make the offering,
shares,
you just make the shares more outstanding, which ultimately dilutes. When you think about companies that are going public, right? Like, you know, when companies go public, it creates opportunities for, you know, more millionaires to enter into the market to participate. Well, that's kind of on hold because of lack of liquidity. And so again, it's like when we think about it, like where will the revenue come from? Where will the alpha come from? And that's going to be a question that I think that we should probably discuss very heavily as it pertains to like the summit this year.
Yeah.
Like where is the alpha coming from? Yeah.
Yeah, I think, well, part of the thing too with college, and this is specifically to your point about the college student asking you that, it's going to take a reframe because you're going to have to look at it like, okay, I'm going to college because I want to be a lifelong learner. And you're going to have to look at it from a skill set base too. So yes, go there for the learning aspect of it all, but then also, there's other tangibles, you know, there's other things like networking. Building your network at a young age is really important. Also, your critical thinking skills in whatever, all the soft skills, as well as financial literacy, all those types of things that you can do while you're in college make a difference. Now, the only problem is that if you are paying, you know, if you have to take out loans just to get that education, that's where the pause comes because now you really got to weigh the pros and cons of that because that's the last thing you want to be in this particular economy is in serious debt with no way of paying it down.
I agree. So things to watch though.
Okay.
You know, given that we're talking about government like shenanigans, things to watch is Palantir.
Gosh, was that a pun? Things to watch. Palantir. No, Palantir is watching you.
See what I did there? You see what I did there? All right. Lockheed Martin and CrowdStrike. I know that CrowdStrike is like CrowdStrike kind of like holds a not a soft spot in my heart, but it's a very awkward spot because of, you know, what they did last year.
Yeah.
But honestly, like if you're a government contractor, I mean, run the play. Run the play. Yeah, I think that that's probably those are going to be the main winners.
Okay.
Or the main folks in which that really participate in, say, for example, like that increased spending.
Okay, so that's the areas to watch.
Yeah. I mean, of course, we got the election year volatility coming up. But I think that that's going to be, I don't know. I think it's going to be, if you're asking for my prediction, I think that we'll get some slight volatility, but I don't think that we're going to have like massive amounts of volatility.
Okay.
I think that ultimately the main volatility that's going to come is if the market doesn't get any type of rate cut this year.
Okay. So
that will
now we need to pay attention to that.
Yeah, we definitely need to pay attention to that. And the thing to watch therein is definitely pay attention to the bond market.
Well, yeah, I was going to say pay attention to the bond market and then also the labor market. just for the economy.
Yeah, because the things. So here are the things I always pay attention to: bond yields, job openings, and delinquencies.
Well, we have a lot of job openings, right? They increased for April.
Allegedly.
Well, okay, allegedly. Allegedly, there was job openings that increased for April, but we also had a lot of layoffs.
There you go.
So that you can have job openings all day and all night.
Yeah, but there's also, that's why I said, it's like we probably have a lot of ghost jobs.
I can open some jobs right now
and never hire for
right.
them, and then just use it as a marketing tool that ultimately, you know what? I'm not gonna go that far today. Okay. But like, definitely pay attention to definitely job openings is one of them. Mm-hmm. Bond yields, as it pertains to what is it that people believe in the short term versus long term bonds. Mm-hmm. If we start to see that yields start to climb in the long term and drop in the short term, then that means that essentially that people are buying up short term bonds and expecting better profit opportunities there. Another thing to pay attention to is delinquencies across the board. So mortgage delinquencies, credit card delinquencies. I mean, we already seen student loan delinquencies.
Oh yeah, they're going to start garnishing.
Well, it's funny that you say that because they actually started pulling back on what they were going to go after Social Security. Folks that are on Social Security, and that's wild that you had now you're that's wild. Okay, check this out. So you got people that are now collecting Social Security and they still have a student loan debt.
I just don't see.
You just retired with student loan debt. We're now in that era where the folks that are retiring have student loan debt.
It's yo, what is going on? It is.
I'm trying to pinch myself to wake up to see this is just a dream.
Right.
Oh my.
And the Social Security is such a fixed income. It is tight. And then you have, Lord have mercy. Okay.
Yeah, so that's something that I'm really paying attention to, which is the delinquencies part, because that's going to really set the stage for everything.
Yeah, and I know with the credit card delinquencies, credit card companies, it's you may have had X amount of credit, and now they're like, okay, well, we're reducing the amount of credit you have now.
Yeah.
And then when that happens, you have less credit, that impacts your credit score. And then if you were trying to buy a house in this market, then that is
I think that they're also adjusting credit scores also, because I think that we're seeing that people across the board, even if they haven't changed anything within their financial landscape and everything else, their credit scores are still being impacted. Somebody check in on that one, because I'm not very sure on that one, but I'm probably sure that we're probably hearing that a lot of credit is being impacted, especially since we recently saw Moody's downgrade towards U.S. debt, which people are just scoffing at that, but okay. I'm very interested to see exactly also GDP, the GDP number coming up, Yeah. I wonder. But Jolyn, how did I do on these predictions? I must ask.
Okay, so we need to go
I know
back.
I'm not batting 1,000.
No, but I think you're on track. You're definitely on track for what S&P is going to end at.
I mean,
you're on track for that. I mean, what is it? This is June.
We already hit 5,800, so
we're at 59 now. So yeah.
Yeah, we hit 6,000.
I think your predictions are doing good. Now, what the predictions that we'll really need to look for would be the ones that take place at the summit.
Yes, I will have some new predictions
September.
at the summit. So should we make the announcement?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's official. Breaking news. The summit will be officially taking place on September 18th through the 21st.
Yes.
In downtown Seattle. So last year we were at the University of Washington. This year we're in downtown Seattle. But there's a little bit of a caveat.
I'm looking at the dates right now.
Yeah. So that's
Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah. Well, something.
Yeah.
All right. So, but there's a caveat to that.
Okay.
So, look, after the whole scenario last year.
Which scenario last year?
People missing flights and else. I want to keep it a little bit more intimate this year. I think we both agreed on keeping it a little bit more intimate. And it may even open up to us doing like maybe 2 summits in a year, potentially going into next year.
All right, let's calm down.
So we're just gonna let it breathe. But so I think the spots are only gonna be, I think it's 300 spots or 350.
So basically, this is what we're gonna do.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna let you know.
Yep. See, look at that.
I cannot. Okay. Anyway, we're gonna let you know well in advance when tickets go on sale for the summit taking place September 18th through the 21st. Once those tickets are released, they're much like last year. There is nothing that we can do once the tickets are sold out. Like there's not going to be any tickets
at the door.
None of that. No. And that was a problem last year too.
Yes.
People were calling me, texting me, DMing me like, "Hey, can I get a ticket?" I was like, "No, they're sold out." So, but we will give our cousins like the heads up when the tickets are going to go on sale, because that's our primary.
No, for sure.
That's who I want to be there. So.
Of course. So yeah, downtown Seattle, and of course, shout outs to Labor Temple because I will be the host of the event. So it'll be downtown First Avenue. Then on top of that, we're also partnered up with Ascend VC.
Yeah, I wish I had some confetti, but I don't.
Well, we had Starburst. What happened to those?
I ate them.
Okay.
Shout out to Pink.
I'm Team Yellow. Psych. I don't even.
No, the yellow's actually good.
What was it?
It's like lemon. It's
good.
Okay.
Well, okay.
Cam
does not approve.
He's a red. He's a red one.
Okay. So yeah, we got Ascend also participating and sponsor. So it's going to be sponsored by Ascend and Wilson Cincini and From the Culture. There will probably be more sponsors that will be lining up as well. But there's also for the founders, so for folks in whom which are entrepreneurs, so you definitely want to come to this event too, because there's a founders bash that also, if you are registered through the summit when the tickets go on sale, you can also get access. So if you register by July, I think we'll just say probably by my birthday. Then you
hold
get
off
access.
On these dates, y'all, because we haven't even released anything yet.
Yeah, I'm saying when they register by July 18th, then they also get access to the Ascend Founders Bash, which is also that evening of. Because they're hosting a Thursday evening. Okay, and it's lit. It's like you're in a room with like VCs from not only Seattle but Silicon Valley, San Francisco, New York, and other places. So some of the biggest VCs in the room get to, and then on top of that, you're meeting with startups and everybody else in the room, and you may even see me there.
I might be there, but I plan on going, maybe having some.
You might have a different party,
some private excursions. I'm just saying, you just never know.
I'm like Craig David over here. Can you fill me in?
We might have a little something. You just never know, because it's going to be in downtown Seattle, so it's going to be one of those things where,
Oh, you about to have a soiree?
A speakeasy. I don't know. We'll see.
And in the words of Tone Loc, can I get in? All right. So yeah, there's more details that will be dropping soon. But we wanted to just make sure that essentially that the data got out there, and as more things pop up, then of course we'll share with y'all. All right. So before we do that though, before we get off, because we said a lot, right? So I want to discuss some things as it pertains to what to expect over the next month.
Okay,
for the market.
Hold on, let me get my notes together.
Well, I mean, it's going to be simple. I mean, expect a little bit of turbulence, but at the same token, I think that we're still going to literally go to the upside. I think we possibly may hit a roadblock around the 6150 range to 6250.
Okay.
And then at that point, the market's going to be like, hold up, we need to take a breather.
And then it's going to gear up.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Santa Claus rally could potentially take us to 6,500 and above this year. Again, all pending. Now, remember, there's one thing that could ultimately trump all technical analysis.
An alien takeover. I'm just kidding. What?
Well, technically, it is an alien, but
what?
Taco.
Yeah. If there are too many Taco Tuesdays, it might be a problem.
It might be a problem.
It might be a problem.
You might get the market might get a little bit of indigestion.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my take for the June.
Right,
I think that honestly, I think that Apple might show up and show out for WWDC.
They better.
They need to. It's a must. It's a must.
Mandatory.
It's a must-win situation. Like this is a game 7 for Apple. But I think that they'll rise to the occasion. I think that we'll see the next iteration of Vision OS.
Okay.
I think that we'll also see Car OS.
Oh, now that would be
and Home OS. Write that down. So I also believe that essentially we will see, like I said, if S&P 500 is running and if tech is ultimately being the major catalyst to that, shout outs to TQQQ. Okay. I mean, I once upon a time gave it spaces and told everybody, hey, like NVIDIA's under 100 and TQQQ, like let's run it. But yeah. If you ran it, congratulations. If you didn't, hey, you just got to wait for your next turn. Wait for the next bus to come. Let's see here. I'll probably be giving more analyses. And also, one thing I will be doing also, I want to start reviewing tech on the Club series. You should. What do y'all think about that? And I mean, shout outs to MKBHD. He can do the consumer tech.
You do it from an investor.
I want to do it from an investor/consumer perspective.
Yes.
Like, should you invest?
I want to see that. I'm just checking in with the chat because I realized I haven't been paying attention.
I know, right? Like, it's so far away. Like, we normally get like things that pop up if it's a highlight.
Yeah, the screen, you guys, is like way over there. Way over there. So I'm like looking at my phone. The font's all small. Okay. Well, there's too much to go through. Hi.
Okay. All right. So let's see here. Did I hit every single point? I think I did.
You did.
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the market is ultimately going to wait for Apple WWDC. They're going to wait for the keynote.
Okay.
So depending on how the keynote goes, that's where the market will go next week.
Ooh, a lot of pressure, Apple. A lot of pressure.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of pressure because ultimately Apple cannot drop below its $3 trillion market cap.
The timing of that honk.
I know, right?
Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, so Apple cannot drop below the $3 trillion market cap, and if it has dropped, it can't stay there. Okay. It has to stay within the race of the top 3.
All right, it's fine for us.
Meta and Google will be their thing, but ultimately, like, Apple must remain. If it doesn't, then the crazy thing is, I wonder what is Warren Buffett now buying
besides bonds.
Just saying.
Okay. Well, we might have to come back next week then to dissect
WWDC. Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to do a special event for next week.
Yeah.
Breaking news. We will literally have an event next week for WWDC as it pertains to giving our recap, our thoughts, and our analysis, and based upon what we've seen the market will do. But I will say this. The market will probably run up towards WWDC, and then it will probably do whatever it does during WWDC, and then we'll probably see it sell off.
Well, yeah, people want to make their money,
so it'll be day traded that day. The thing to pay attention to is what happens 2 days after WWDC.
48 hours. Pay attention.
Okay, so we got it. All right. Well, there's nothing else, right?
I think we're done because I'm hungry.
Okay,
it's dinner time.
One question.
There's a question.
Oh, you can post it up there. There's.
I'm just gonna read it to you.
Oh,
okay. Read it to us.
He said, how can U.S. curb chip exports when NVIDIA chips are made in Taiwan versus right next to China?
Okay, so how can U.S. curb the chips as it pertains to being shipped to other areas as well as into the U.S.? Well, that's a beautiful thing. They're made in Taiwan. They're brought into the U.S. So they're not made technically in the U.S.
Yeah, isn't it? If it's how does it go? If it's the last,
it's the last
location.
Last location.
That means that's the final.
Yeah.
Made in fill in the blank.
Yeah. It's kind of like last mile delivery, but not really. All right. So thank you guys for watching today's show. We appreciate y'all. I guess we got to get ready to end it on our end. But until next time, I'm Mark Monroe.
And I'm Jolyn GC in the place to be.
And this has been your come up. We will see you guys next week with an in-depth analysis of the tech sector, the market, and all things Apple. Stay tuned, y'all. Peace.